Lamborghini, everything you need to know. Hello and welcome back to MIA Luxury Cars. For today's video, we will be going to talk about Lamborghini, everything you need to know. Let's get started. Lamborghini V12. Building tractors had brought in a fortune for Ferruccio Lamborghini. The guy owned a tractor empire. They were race cars for the road, which meant that the clutches frequently failed and the inside was awful. To get it fixed after that, you had to tow the vehicle to Maranello. Very annoying. Lamborghini believed that these items should be flawless given the amount of money he was spending on them. He voiced his displeasure to Enzo Ferrari. Ferruccio became enraged, so Lamborghini adapted one of his Ferrari 250 GTs with the help of his tractor guys. In the Italian auto industry, he hired only the finest, including ex-Ferrari engineer Giotto Bizzarini. He received a request from Lamborghini to build a V12 engine, but specifically one for use on public roads, not some insane race engine that is unreliable. So Bizzarini constructed a wild, unreliable race engine right away. This vehicle had an astounding 11,000 RPM top speed and 400 horsepower. They detuned the engine for the road and created the iconic Lamborghini V12, despite the fact that the driver wanted to push the engine even farther. Ferruccio said, "Nah, this is a road car, a real work of art." It was so good that they used variation of it up until 2010. They persisted in toiling away in the barn of somewhere else until the 350 GT emerged in 1964. He essentially just added 100 to the term Ferrari 250 GT to give the vehicle a name. The media praised it as excellent, stylish, quick, and well-made. A year later, the 350 GT was upgraded to the 400 GT. Lamborghini had accomplished this. He had produced a really excellent sports car. Really, nothing could be better. Of course, they could create a completely new class of vehicle on their own. But what are the chances of that? Ferruccio Lamborghini wanted to produce road vehicles rather than the insane race cars that Enzo Ferrari did. But his engineers nonetheless made the decision to design a race car in secret. They came up with some batshit ideas as they were working on it. A rear-wheel drive, mid-engine sports car with a V12 that was agile and planted. To everyone's amazement, Lamborghini said, "Do it." When the engineers proposed the concept, he reasoned that it might be a clever marketing gimmick. He even predicted that they may sell around 50 shirts in total for 8 couple variants. Lamborghini Miura. The outcome was the Lamborghini Miura, which Lamborghini named after his friend and well-known bull rancher Don Eduardo Miura. Basically, it's one of the most significant automobiles ever. It was the first modern concept super vehicle, with the enormous engine directly behind the cockpit. In reality, the fundamental Miura layout is used by almost all contemporary supercars. That much influence it had and still does. It has to be the most attractive automobile ever. It is the world's swiftest vehicle, the Islero, named after one of Don Miura's bulls, made its debut in 1968. Pop-up headlights give it something of an Aston Martin appearance. It belonged to Roger Moore, J.B. Bond, the Espada, a large, eccentric, extremely retro-looking Grand Tour that may be the most useful Lamborghini ever, was debuted the following year. It seems that Ferruccio Lamborghini has 3 passions: cars, bulls, and his dear friend Don Miura. Hamara was powered by a smaller V8. This was actually the point at which Lamborghini's renowned wedge forms began to take shape. With a fantastic product lineup, the hottest badge in town, and rising sales, Lamborghini was definitely off a terrific start. However, despite his success, Tractor Man had somehow forgotten to turn a profit. Due to increasing financial difficulties, the founder of the Miura sold a 51% ownership in his business to George Henry Rossetti, a friend and business partner from Switzerland. When the 1973 oil crisis hit and rendered gas-guzzling supercars useless, things only got worse. Ferruccio Lamborghini retired in 1974 and sold his remaining stake to René Lamer, a friend of Rossetti's, after demonstrating to Enzo Ferrari his ability to produce excellent automobiles and growing wary of battling the company's financial issues. There was nothing the corporation could do in the face of a developing financial problem and an energy crisis under the new management, other than release the wackiest vehicle ever created. When Lamborghini, the firm, decided to quit caring about being rational and just let their imaginations run wild, it was with the release of the Countach in 1974. The Countach was wider than Chris Christie and had a strong angular design that resembled a rocket ship more than an automobile. Overall, it was a unique car for the time period. The Countach, powered by that trusted V12 that was now up to 4 liters, became a symbol of XSIE achievement. But most crucially, it made the most important work of Italian art ever known to the world. It wasn't until 1982 that the Countach was even offered for sale in the US, where it was legally required to have these unsightly front bumpers installed. As usual, when it arrived in America, the Countach was a huge hit and never failed to attract people's attention. Lamborghini Silhouette. The Silhouette, Lamborghini's follow-up vehicle, was essentially an upgrade Urraco and an effort to create a Lamborghini that was more affordable. Sadly, it had numerous dependability problems and didn't have much of an impact on the market. As it struggled with its finances, Lambo accepted a contract to create SUVs for the American military. They produced a couple Cheetah prototypes, something they had never done before. Both the military and the contract failed to generate any revenue from them. In the meantime, Lamborghini's inability to create any racing cars caused a contract with BMW to fall through. They got that one. With nothing else to do, the business declared bankruptcy. As always, more Swiss men are the answer. Specifically, the Sugar Baron brothers, Jean-Claude and Patrick Mimran. Sales of Countach increased after the manufacturer unveiled the Halpa, an improved silhouette model. The Swiss Sugar Boys decided to create a whole new automobile since they enjoyed their new business. They made you acquire what kind of amazing sports automobile? One more SUV. They revived Cheetah military project and used it to create the LM002, often known as the Rambo Lambo, an extremely opulent and swift SUV for civilian use. Unfortunately, the world simply wasn't ready for it in the 1980s. Thus, Lamborghini's engine stalled once more, leaving the corporation in a precarious situation. Following Chrysler's $25 million acquisition from a flea market. Lamborghini Diablo. The now technically American corporation finished creating its Countach successor, the Demon. It has the name of a bull. When it first appeared, the 485 horsepower V12 Diablo was the fastest car in the world. When it was unveiled in 1990, it was a declaration of the new improved Lamborghini, and it was a huge success. Additionally, it performed a really peculiar action that was completely unheard of for Lamborghini: earning money. Lambo at last made a respectable profit. Things were going smoothly when they suddenly started to fall apart. Sales of the Diablo fell off when newer, faster super vehicles entered the market, and the novelty of the Diablo faded. A Malaysian corporation that Chrysler sold Lamborghini to essentially did nothing but keep making the Diablo after purchasing the company. But the Germans arrived in 1998. The Volkswagen Group wanted to honor my graduation from 8th grade. This marks the start of the contemporary Lamborghini. The Germans desired a brand new vehicle to symbolize the beginning of a new era for the now German Lamborghini. The business then started developing a replacement for the Diablo. 2001. Here comes the Murcielago, so named for the original bull Miura kept in his stable. With a 572 horsepower B12, it retains the design of the original engine and has the distinctive angular wedge shape. The house of the roaring bull was brought into the 21st century by the Lamborghini Murcielago. After 2 years, with the Gallardo, Lamborghini debuted a second model to their lineup for the first time in decades. It was a more expensive but still totally unaffordable vehicle. A Lamborghini actually retained themselves by only using a V10. Now that's self-control. The Gallardo sold a little bit better than the Murcielago, which also did well. By the end of its production, Gallardos accounted for half of all Lamborghini sales. Lamborghini in 2008. 2008 was the best year ever for Lamborghini. All of the negative developments and news were over. A global financial catastrophe and a crash in the stock market would be the only things that could pull Lambo down at this time. Thankfully, none of those occurrences occurred in 2008. Orange supercars suddenly didn't seem like a wise investment. Audi and the Volkswagen Group remained steadfast and refrained from offering Lamborghini for sale. They had faith in Lamborghini, which was like the foster child who had been tossed about from one house to another before getting into trouble, and their trust was rewarded in 2011 when sales began to increase. Their newest vehicle, the Aventador, which was named after, helped them out that year. They are all given names that refer to bulls. The Aventador, which replaced the decade-old Murcielago, leaned even more heavily on the angular styling and resembled a stealth fighter than a car. It also had a brand new, completely original V12 engine. After 50 arduous years of service, Lamborghini officially retired the original masterpiece by Giotto Bizzarini. Additionally, Lamborghini appeared to be doing okay for themselves right now. The corporation is still around and is making supercars, which are symbols of extravagance. After all these years and all those missteps, their ownership has been stable for almost 20 years under Audi Volkswagen. What have you learned about our topic? Please let me know by leaving a comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, please press the like button, turn on the notification bell, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thank you for stopping by to watch. See you in our next video.